Right, we're live. There we go. Welcome everyone, Finance Committee this afternoon. As ever, the front page on the agenda is the matters taken as read in terms of telephones, etc., etc., etc. So I'm just going to read through that. Just move straight into the meeting and go on to apologies for absence, please, Debbie.
Facilitation is absent this afternoon.
That's all. That's six of us. Yeah, that's fine. So that's noted. Brilliant.
Accept apologies.
Okay. Do we have any declarations of interest in the proceedings? No. So we don't have any dispensations, which is great. So we move on to the minutes, pages 5 to 8. Does anybody have anything they wish to raise there?
The only thing I wanted to raise was at point 286, the minutes section, where we talk about the fourth paragraph down starts with you, where it says about raise we give the bakery grants for lanterns, etc. I'm not sure that I think that actually should be expanded a little bit, because at the last meeting, we didn't just talk about the makery. I think the context of that needs to be just expanded on, because I had also mentioned about the rugby club, and what we were talking about at that point was actually not specifically the makery or the rugby. It's about actually the organisations who receive grants from us, but then don't necessarily publicise or give the town council the credit where it is. And I think just the way that's worded up it looks like we were only talking about the makery, which we weren't, because the makery, of course, do a great job in what they did. Yeah. It's fantastic. As did with the rugby club, but they were two that sprung to mind because they had been sent around. I just think it just needs a bit of tweaking with the wording. I mean, it's fine.
Anything you want?
Oh gosh, no.
Well, I mean, I was.
You raised it. I know you raised it. We talked about it, but I think just looking at that, and I'm also conscious that we've had an email come in subsequent to that from Sam the Makery about that meeting, and I think we need to just be assuring that we weren't being disparaging in any shape or form.
And it wasn't directed specifically at them, but I quite agree.
But when you read that little paragraph, it just feels like we're only talking about that, and we weren't. We were talking in the context of what we were talking about. It was about grant recipients also helping us as a town council with, just helping with some, publicity and letting people know that actually we have this pot of money that we use to support our local charities and organisations. It just happened to be on that meeting, they were quite actually mind. That was
I'd actually gone through my head when I read that. The very last sentence, it was agreed that we should have been credited more in the publicity, and my recollection of the discussion was, and this would be addressed in the new policy and grants procedures.
Yes.
To make it clear.
Yes.
That it was expected that suitable publicity was attributed to the town council for their support. So if you wanted to take out,
I think it just needs amended. I mean, it's right. Obviously, it was you and I that had the main discussion. I think that we had a general discussion about, the Christmas events, but we also talked about the town council sponsorship, also generally about ensuring that those recipients do acknowledge publicly in the best way that they can when they have a contribution from us as a grants committee to help them with whatever it is that they will do. But
that first sentence, to take it anonymously into Councillor Atkins raised that some organisations that we had given a grant to had not publicly included a
public accredited.
Yeah.
The town council, yes.
the town council, so we could take all
Yeah.
that, just take all that bit out. We can take the clerk out as well, holding their own
Yeah.
hands and workshop, because that's only going to get
Yes.
more and more silly. And then,
Well, also to be fair, I can't recall the clerk saying that, but it might sound ambitious, I probably didn't hear it. But
then at the end, it was
yeah,
agreed
it was
that
agreed
we
that
should
would, yeah,
be more
yeah,
credited in the publicity, and this would be addressed in the review of the grants policy and procedures, which is in hand
so.
for the new year.
I think that's right, because I think it's the proper context of what the discussion was about. Well, because when you look at it, it looks like we've.
I mean, I was like surprised that Sam had felt that disparaged, I have to say, because I didn't recollect the discussion being about them specifically.
Oh, no.
Because we'd launched into
Yeah.
the whole
And
issue.
I've given an example of when they had an opening for the changing room.
That's right, and then
and we'd actually also talked about that. We'd also mentioned actually a pride event. Again, receiving monies, but actually not inviting either the mayor or indeed, any councillor. And it was in the context of a more general discussion. They just happened to be three that we've mentioned. But I think it's important for the context of that to be clear. But anyway, other than that, the rest was absolutely fine. I have no other comments.
It certainly needs to be more about the acknowledgement, and maybe not said publicity, but from, because I did actually say, well, people want to look at the folk festival, they actually publicise the support that we give them.
Yeah.
So
Credit, isn't it?
it is about credit and acknowledgement.
Yes.
And that's I think it accepts the fact so maybe it's an oversight.
well, I think Sam said
So
that the town council was actually mentioned on all the kits, but that wasn't anything particularly public towards the event,
no,
which our original intention for, and that then brings us on to the slight problem with the numbers and the two events having to, and so it goes
Yeah,
on.
and I think, like I said, if the policy, the grants policy aspects is going to be reviewed and then updated, that will hopefully clear that up and everybody knows what the expectations are going to be going forward. Good. Otherwise, other than those comments, I think.
Anybody else? Okay, so if I can have a proposer to agree the minutes as set out with the amendments that we've just agreed.
Last
So all those in favour? And Debbie, if you need a hand with the words, give me a shout, but you've got your recording up there, so that's fine. Thank you very much. So your next one is fees and charges for weddings. There's been a big uplift in our look at weddings. Yesterday at Assets, we looked at a new brochure for weddings generally, and this part of it is the finance bit, which is actually the fees and charges. So we're still being hampered by the restrictions on numbers in rooms, but usually with a wedding, people hire all three rooms, or just this one if it's a little one, isn't it? That's what they said. Oh, I think when my friends got married here, they used just the two together. So you've got a mix and match in terms of what people can hire, the times they can hire it for, the hourly charge. So you've got a current and proposed, and I don't see any problem with that. I think it's just in the running. I would suggest it's probably quite cheap in terms of wedding venues, considering you've got cheap parking and things at weekends and what have you. So I propose that go forward, but open to you to discuss wedding girls.
I'm not, please correct me if I'm wrong, but the understanding is that the numbers is for the whole of the building. So if someone books this room and the main two chambers, that is still 60 people in total.
Mm.
So, and I take it that the fire officer didn't view those numbers when they did their check. Right, because I meant to ask them about that, isn't it? So, but yeah, I guess I agree with you, it is reasonable.
Most of it, they use it on double price of level there quite a lot.
And I mean, I know the golf course is quite a favourite one, but it's out of town and you've got to drive or you've got to get taxis or put on buses for your guests, etc., and it all gets a bit abstract. It's lovely up there, but you know, we all have our own advantages for things. So, I mean, as I say, I think that's a fair proposal to go forward. Mike seconded. Did you or did I imagine that? Or just,
No, I suppose it's fine.
no, I've proposed.
I'll
it.
second it then.
Yeah.
So,
And so can we take the vote on that, please? On those. So that's agreed unanimously. Thank you, Debbie. And then the next one is quarter three's outturn. Now, quarter three, of course, ends in December. So quite a lot of expenditure is likely to have gone out in July. So although we look as if we're underspending on quite a lot of budget lines, I suspect that's not going to be the case as well. You know, as things finish up with the projects down and around the town, etc., etc. I had a quick scan through and was looking at the percentages, and nothing really stuck out for me as being a problem at this stage that would, as I say, resolve itself over the next 3 months. And anything that is slightly overdrawn or overspent at the moment, I suspect also is a problem with inflation and general sort of expenditure levels. But I couldn't see anything there that was a matter particularly of debate. Anybody else got anything?
The pages did not receive my yellow highlighter, so that's a bit annoying.
Oh, the first thing I do when I get is cross out the left-hand column. It just confuses me because I don't want to look at that.
No,
I want to look at these. And then, you know, fathoming out various other bits and pieces. But as I say, it is what it is. And, you know, we start to, you know as well as I do that this is why we have the computer system and we have everybody trained to use it, and Ian will be watching it like a hawk through February and March because they're in control of the drips that are going down, the expenditure that will be going down, and the need for any environment movement that will be needed to balance the books. But hopefully, you know, quite a lot of that will sort itself out as the toilet projects come online, and that will eat into our current reserves quite largely.
Okay, yeah.
So can I
I've just got one question, Chair.
Yeah.
The sponsorship.
Page.
We're on page agenda item 6 and up to page 12 and 11. It says sponsorship twice there. Once at 500, it says last year, but that could be.
last year is last year's figures.
Yes, I know.
That column is last year's figures.
I just want to know what the sponsorship's for, and I don't see it anywhere else. Twice. I saw it on 11 and 12 on 500. And one for 2,561. Just want to know what that was.
Well, you were supposed to contact the clerk, Mike, if you had issues about things you didn't understand by Monday, so that we could have you an answer for you.
Unfortunately, I was in hospital yesterday, Charlie, so I couldn't do it. I've been in hospital. So I don't have a chance to do it.
Right, well, can we make a note of that, Debbie, please? Unless you had it tucked up your sleeve somewhere as to what that is.
Otherwise, I would have done it in the chat.
Okay,
I'm just curious, that's all. Okay, see it appears twice. No. Don't know if you've been sponsored or you sponsored something or whatever it is.
It doesn't appear in this year.
No, it doesn't. That's why I'm just curious. Other than that, it's fine.
I haven't got screen. Hang on, can you put it up on the screen then, page 11 and page 12? You can see what I'm looking at. So photocopied it to save paper and that isn't necessary.
So, yes, so there's one, there's a third one down, isn't it? We've got there. 500. And then it's a bit further down there.
Page 12.
Right, so that will have been last year, that's got nothing to do with anything this year, I don't think,
There is
except
that.
that.
Bit further down, there, your sponsorship in the middle of that page.
So we had a budget for it, but we haven't spent anything on it, so it probably doesn't amount to anything, right, to be honest.
I'm just curious as to, says sponsorship comes up twice, but nowhere else.
Yeah, but one was last year and one has no expenditure, it's there as a current budget allowance.
Hmm.
With no expenditure against it, I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't ask Ian what the £350 was put there for as a nominal fee, but there's no money involved in that at the moment. At all. Unless it appears,
Yes, right. Sorry.
Oh, right,
sorry,
yeah.
I looked at the wrong line.
No, you're right. Listen on that. Just say,
2,569
yeah,
of sponsorship for
500.
500.
My mistake, sorry, Mike. But that, again, I mean, 2,569 is last year, it's got nothing to do with this year. There's absolutely nothing there, we have no budget allocation for it. and no
I thought 5
expenditure.
years, forgive me for saying so, but I don't know 5 years run from,
Financial year, April to March.
yeah, it's to March, so technically that would be, to March this year. Wouldn't it? April last year, March this year.
What would be the space?
Well, the last year, which you quite rightly put it, last year's budget, it's still running until we come up to the end of this year, March. But
No, no.
that's March, isn't it?
The council's budget runs from April to March.
Mhm.
So that will have been April to March the year before.
Right,
Last year isn't just 2025,
yeah, we
it's
did,
the financial
yeah,
year.
well, the reason why I'm just asking, because it doesn't actually say 24 to 25, it says 25, as far as I can see, to 26. Otherwise, it would specifically say that on it.
Well, no,
Well, I'm sure I can't get Ian to clarify.
Yeah,
this, but
just to clarify, that's all. Somebody. Probably something that. It's fine.
I'm assuming that'd be 23 last year, be 23 to 24, and year to date is 24 to 25.
And 25 to 26.
But that would be next year.
No.
no,
It's
today
Yeah.
we are in 25, 26.
Oh, right, okay.
So 24.
Hence last year, and this means 24, 25.
Right.
And you're quite right, it doesn't say, but I think. But there you go. We'll ask and get an explanation. So. Budget outturn, can I propose that we note that as set out with the query on sponsorship to be clarified? Its existence or non-existence in the budget for this year. Okay, so we're just noting that, so we don't have to vote on that. That's it.
No.
So the next one is the bank reconciliations, which are now working brilliantly with our dual signatories. But again, that will need to be picked up in this discussion about redacting
Yeah. I am.
signatures. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense actually.
Well, I just, when I went through it, I was concerned that the signature, I mean, for us, our purposes, fine. But publicly, I don't think we should be showing signatures for GDPR and privacy and security, safety and security. Obviously, we need to make sure that,
I suspect for audit purposes, the office copy needs to contain them.
absolutely.
And any other copy should have it redacted.
Yeah.
Your signature.
Sorry,
I know, I'm just looking at it and thinking, yeah, that's the problem.
But I think there's,
well, they have to sign. I mean, that's the
They
whole point.
absolutely have to be signed, but in terms of public, view, yeah.
well, I know for me, I would want to say what my
No.
public thing, so I think I think as long as we can comply to ensure our auditors know who's signed and it's really clear for the purposes that we need to have, I don't see why that should be public. So it's your own personal signature, but I just was uncomfortable. That's my raising of it.
Is that your signature?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if legislation was playing and box. Or is yours, isn't it? Yeah, it's speaking.
Well, we also need to raise it with Terrell about GDPR.
Yeah.
Can you do that, Debbie, as part of
Yeah.
sorting that out and saying that to Terrell and after the note to Ian about
Is bank, sorry, I feel like I'm out, I don't know why, I didn't miss the last meeting, but bank reconciliation for working well there, everything's.
Yeah.
Good, okay.
well, we can't move on unless they're done and agreed.
Yeah.
So if we can't agree, we can't move on. So they have to be.
They have to go, exactly.
Yeah, and that was always my point in the past. That's why this is all so important. That
Yeah.
actually it has to be right and it has to be
Yeah.
appropriate and correct at the time because we can't otherwise move forward.
Yeah.
And so we have to sort the problems out if any show up in order to actually continue to trade, if you like.
Yeah.
And now the requirements of the auditors are in place about suitable co-authorisation, etc., and that seems to be going well. Everybody's going along and doing that. So everything's sort of pretty rosy, really, in getting our procedures together, which is where we should have been.
Yeah.
If the bank transfer changes hadn't intervened with it all and caused us so much grief. So we can move on then from that. Do we have to do again? We note. So the committee has resolved the note that the following the two bank reconciliations have been done and are okay. And then we're into the list of payments.
Yeah.
I do like this so much more.
Yeah, the only, I went through it, the only thing was, I mentioned was on pages 29 and 30. The 6th and 7th of November, there was just some 4 entries with the same figures and same entries, so it looked like it's been paid twice, but it hasn't been paid twice. Debbie's clarified that for me, just prior to the meeting, so, I don't, that's fine. The only other one that I just circled when I went through them, see, page 36, and it's 15th of December, there's a lady's name there.
Yeah.
And it's two, so it's two entries with the same lady's name, I won't mention the name, for the figure. And it looks like, again, it's probably, is it a similar? Page 36. Would it be, the big screen, would it be?
Yeah.
Redacted it out, yeah. But it's the two, the same name, but also the same amounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine.
I didn't know if that was.
I did query that
duplication.
earlier with my colleague, who said it had been sorted.
So is it one thing or is it?
It would only be one payment.
Right.
Stay one system state.
Yeah, okay, fine. But those were the only things that jumped out to me. To put clarity really. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't pick up anything that I was particularly excited about. Well, I did get a bit confused with all the Lloyd's payment cards, but because I thought we don't have a Lloyd's bank account, but Debbie explained that it's all to do with the couple of credit cards, which work on a different account basis. So they're the ones that are used usually by the facilities people for bits and bobs that they need on a day-to-day basis.
I just got a couple there, Chair. Page 35. I'm just looking at the JT for jewellery. So if it goes jewellery side, goes up about 8 or 9.
Oh, yeah.
On the bottom, it's two exactly the same amount. So it says left
Yeah.
and it says right window exactly the same day.
They are two separate windows.
I can see that. I just thought to myself, it's just a bit, you know, it must be exactly the same size windows, I would have thought.
I think the two around here somewhere, aren't they? They have to be, white joinery as well. They have to be specifically made in wood because of our listed status. So there is a left window and a right window that have been replaced.
And just the other one, our good old favourite there, the old fireworks I'm looking at down there, and which is about 6 from the bottom chair. And basically, yeah, same page. And just wondering, I know we've got some money took in, is that the total cost it cost us with the money taken off? Or is that what we've actually spent, gave them on the 5th of 12? And I presume, because we have to wait till the charges come in, and all the invoices coming before we pay them anyway, I would have thought. We didn't prepay them, did we? Because that would have been lots earlier than that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that was our cost, but we have recouped some of those costs from shoulder.
Is that recoup some of the costs of the original 4,000 to 500, I think it was, or 250 if I recall rightly.
Then I have to check if we have recouped our first.
Yeah, because I just wanted to check on that one because if we got something, we got 2,000, sorry, excuse me, £2,000 that we managed to get back, didn't we, off the QR codes and whatever sponsorship we got. I was just wondering if that's already taken off that, and that's the total cost we've had to spend.
Well, that should have gone through events, shouldn't it?
We're not the super figures.
No, not
No,
it's the biggest
you
one.
have-
Finance.
oh, right.
We have a budget. I think last year the budget was like 3,720. I think starting a little bit, you know.
Isn't it 4,000?
Well, not quite for the last time, but when we were looking at the last events, that was about the budget.
Just a bit curious because I'm just hoping we have
Me, I think-
pay that off for next year. I know
No,
it's
I think that for me, I took that on the view that we are paying what we need to pay after the event, bear in mind the date that's being paid. I don't think it's prepayment. We wouldn't do prepayment. We
No,
would
that's what I was asking.
that's just an interest.
Yeah,
So,
Just asking
Yeah.
questions.
so I feel quite confident that's the post payment. Right.
So are you happy with that, or do you want it in words of one syllable when Debbie's checked?
No, I'm quite happy with that, Jeremy. That's fine.
Anything else then?
Only the same things what Kate's brought up. Other than that, it's fine. And I just one other thing. The Sharps shoot spade changing units. I presume that's on page 33, about 8 up from the bottom, 8, 9 up from the bottom. I presume that's the toilets, not. So,
Oh, that's healthmatic. Yeah, healthmatic toilets.
I would think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so I saw the one underneath it and I knew that I didn't know the extensions. Okay, that's it. It's fine for me.
So can we propose that?
I'll propose it.
second bit.
Yeah, we're resolving to approve the attached list of payments.
Yeah.
So first and seconded,
Yeah.
all those in favour? Thank you very much.
No, sorry, no, it's not too late now. But yeah, I was thinking that as well. But
Well, we're running out of organisations, I think is the short answer.
So it's just coming off the Christmas, everyone being busy for Christmas and New Year,
Yeah.
so I'm not surprised. But you'll get into the February and March and then we'll start, you know,
yeah, and the point I think,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
there may be some money left in.
Should have this on the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't got there yet. I did ask Debbie, I don't know whether you got the message, if you could bring the last account so that we know how much we've got left at the moment.
Yeah.
That'd be helpful.
Which one? That one.
I think that's quite feedback. Yeah, sorry.
I just thought it would be useful to have a quick squint at the current state of the grants budget,
Yeah,
because to see what we've got left, basically.
The total at the bottom does not include the extra £1,000 that is still payable to the Citizens Advice Bureau once they've relocated.
Have you-
It should be in there.
Well, so they keep saying, but I spoke to somebody who said they couldn't say anything until the Salvation Army had moved on, had got a date, and there was no date, so they were unable to commit to anything.
The last time I corresponded with them, they said it was something like the last week of February.
Right, okay.
And I was speaking to the lady from the Salvation Army, and she said that the citizen supplies were relocating to the hub. She's been interested in travel.
When?
She didn't actually give me a date.
Well, that's what we're trying to establish, because that £1,000 is not supposed to go across to them till they let us know that they're staying in Teignmouth.
Okay,
I checked them.
That was the terms of it.
but she didn't, she may have said, but I can't remember.
So Debbie, can you ask them again? Or, you know, it's quite important because we need to know,
Well, I mean, the reality is, isn't it, that actually, if it's going to be in abeyance for a while, we could use that £1,000 for something else more worthy.
well, that's
just
where I'm
worthy,
going actually.
And then they can reapply and we can look at it
Yeah.
again for a brand new grant application. It's just, we can't, we can't have.
We give them a time limit.
Well, it's if it's looking at finding premises and settling in, I get that, but I just think that they might, they might say at the moment until we're settled, we can't. Because what it is, it's about the purpose of that grant. So if they can't exercise the purpose and complete the purpose of what the grant was for, because they haven't sorted out premises, well, actually, we can use that £1,000 for something else with other than, and then review it when when they reapply. I mean, I don't know, but
If they're staying in Teignmouth,
Yeah.
they could have it. Because that, and so we need to know, like, if perhaps capture it in that
yeah,
way politely. If you are moving to premises elsewhere in Teignmouth and your service will be continued, we are happy to pay you the grant now on your written confirmation. That is the situation. Otherwise, we will reallocate the money to make best use of it, and you can apply again next year or something like that. Are you all right with that?
Yeah.
And I mean that can be minuted quite happily. I don't have a problem with that. That's not being unfair to anybody.
well, it's not because it helps with our budgeting.
Well, absolutely. It helps.
Potentially, we've got £1,000 sitting there that should be going out, actually isn't going out, and what do we do with it? So I think it's quite right we ask that question.
Yeah, and as ever, there is normally a huge thrash of people trying to hoover up the money that might still be going at the end of the year.
And we will end up with more applications, certainly should come into that sort of March, April time.
Well, again, as people are putting their budgets and things together, so we need to know exactly where we sit.
Finally,
So that's okay. It was in the agenda. So no grants received. I think you just minute there, Debbie, the current state of the grants.
This isn't on the agenda, there isn't there?
No, I asked for that specially.
Sorry, I just noticed.
It would normally
It's like, oh my God, we redacted.
It would normally have been there if we'd had some grants,
Yeah,
but actually, because it's this time of year,
it's good to
I
know.
thought it was
Yeah.
useful to be able to see how much money we've got, because it ain't a whole lot.
No,
And try really to make it clear to people that our next meeting will be,
and the March.
so I mean, they've got to make sure if they want to get in an application, because that will be, well, it's the 31st of March, they'll be hard pushed to get that. We will have to pay that very, very quickly, because that's the last day of March. And that I don't know whether that can be done or whether it'll have to move forward into next year's budget and be a transfer of money through on reserves. But that's an accounting issue. It might be worth just making a note to ask Ian about that, so that we are forewarned that as the next finance meeting is the last day of March. How would any grants be paid? Would they be paid from this year's budget, or would they have to go over into next year's? Because I'm not quite sure whether that's capital or revenue, etc. And then the follow-up from that, which is quite interesting, you recall we made a grant to the life education people for a contribution towards a course that I believe, if I recall, was being run at Hazeldown, wasn't it?
Yes,
To support children to live safe, happy and healthy lives. And, you know, it's really nice to get a thank you letter. It's called Life Education Wessex and Thames Valley, which stylied us all a little bit, but they are apparently a company that services nationally. And I'll read it out for information. We are delighted with your contribution, which will enable us to boost children's resilience around smoking, alcohol and drugs, deliver health, emotional well-being and drug prevention education, equip children with the skills and confidence to make healthy choices, help children leave school better prepared for life and work in modern Britain, provide parents with the support they need to reinforce learning at home, and support children to be safe and respectful both online and in the real world. And I think those are all extremely worthy targets and aims for this group to make a contribution to for our young people locally. And it does say again, research shows that children's health and emotional well-being are strongly linked to academic and social success. We want every child to be happy, healthy and achieve their best, no matter what their background. And I think we as a council would promote very, very strongly. Mm-hmm. Now, it did occur to me that actually isn't a grant feedback form, if you see what I mean. That's just a thank you note. So we will need to actually still include them on the feedback list when we've reviewed that form and got that up and running moving forward. But I think it's useful for people to know that we have put some money towards something that's going to help an awful lot of children in their education and growing up. And I think it's a good time for that to happen for most of them. Yeah. So we note. Yeah. And that is the end of the show. Our next meeting is the 31st of March, as we've just said. Yeah. And it will be a Tuesday again.
Yeah, 4:30.
Brilliant. So we finish at 6 o'clock.
1770.
That's fine.
Brilliant. Excellent. Thank
Just
you.
so quick. Yeah, not even an hour.
Well, I mean, there's no point in making a meal of it. Thank you, Debbie. Because these things are,
We just press the end.
well, you need to press them not yet.
Press the end.
No, next one up.